Hello, everyone. I'm Hwan Park, and today we have a very special guest, Chris McDonald, the former managing director at CARF International. She played a pivotal role in helping us get our facility accredited years ago when I was working in Seoul National University Bundang Hospital. Chris has a wealth of experience in this field, and today she's here to share her insights with us. Welcome, Chris.
Hi, Hwan. It's great to be here.
It's wonderful to have you, Chris. I still remember the guidance you provided during the accreditation process. Your expertise was invaluable. Could you briefly introduce yourself, highlighting the therapist positions you've held and the roles you've accomplished over time?
Sure. I started out very young at 15 as a rec therapy aide in a freestanding rehab hospital and got exposed to both physical and occupational therapy and speech language pathology. And at that point, I decided that OT was something that resonated with me and that it took advantage of all the skills that I had. So I applied and was accepted at University of Southern California and did my undergraduate work there. And way back then, you didn't have to have a master's or a PhD or a doctorate. So a bachelor's of science was it. I had the great opportunity of having internships at Rancho Los Amigos, which is a famous freestanding rehab hospital, and my
Right.
psych internship was at UCLA at the Neuropsychiatric Institute. So I was very fortunate to have great training. My first job was in a general acute care hospital in downtown Los Angeles, so it was good exposure to a wide variety of individuals. I then went to work for 5 years in a pediatric facility in Desert Hot Springs, California, and was approached at that point to start an occupational therapy department at a community hospital, a 350-bed hospital in Palm Springs, California. And so it seemed like a great opportunity. Degrees never stopped me. If people said, oh, you need to have a master's, I'd say, okay, well, I don't have a master's, but I have this, and would talk about my skill set. I was fortunate in that I did a variety of different settings. I've done home health, I've done general acute, I've done designated rehab units, outpatient, a variety of different wellness programs and communities. And so as an OT, I was able to expand my OT skills, but at the same time starting an OT department and then eventually becoming the rehab administrator of a 27-bed inpatient unit gave me
Wow.
the opportunity to also do leadership skills.
Mhm.
And so my OT career has been varied, and it also gave me an opportunity both clinically as well as in the leadership role.
That's impressive and quite an inspiring journey you had over time.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was very fortunate.
So your transition from hands-on therapy to leadership roles and also to CARF International shows the breadth of your expertise. For our audiences who might not be familiar, could you provide some insights into CARF and the type of accreditation organization it represents?
Sure. CARF is the Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. It started in 1966, and it was originally just in North America, in the US and Canada. And by the time I left my position after 31 years, we were in 26 countries. And it is an accreditation. Many times we called it a boutique accreditation because
Okay.
it does specialty programs, not only in medical rehab, but it is the whole spectrum from children to elders with special needs. So people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, people with behavioral health issues, with addictions. And then in medical rehab, everything from inpatient, outpatient, home and community, amputee, cancer, brain, spinal cord, stroke. There are new concussion standards. And so it really is about specialty programs, and it's a peer review consultative process. And so the people who are surveyors are coming from the field. And so they're aware of what it takes to do the kind of work that everyone is doing as we do the surveys. So it really is we used to say a kinder, gentler accreditation than some of the big acute care hospital accreditations, which are much more regulatory in terms of what they look for.
I appreciate that overview, Chris. I think CARF's mission is so crucial for maintaining high standards in healthcare. What specific areas does CARF focus on when accrediting hospitals or rehab facilities?
Well, I think what attracted me about CARF is that it wasn't just the clinical side. And I think that's something that as clinicians, if you're talking to a class of people who are clinicians, it's great that you have clinical skills, but if you don't have the ability to understand how a business is run, then eventually you're going to be limited to just doing hands-on. You have to be aware of how an organization works. And I don't care if you're selling shoes or if you're doing medical rehab. You have to take a look at leadership. You have to be able to take a look at strategic planning, financial planning and management. You have to take a look at how you deal with workforce development and management of them. You have to be able to also talk about your results. And so one of the key components of CARF is that you develop an outcome system that talks about both how you're doing business-wise as well as clinical. A hard concept for many clinicians to grasp, because then it's like, oh, they're only interested in the numbers, or they're only interested in, but if you're not interested in that, there's a famous saying, no margin, no mission. And so if you don't have margins, you're not going to be able to fulfill your mission. And the mission of CARF is that through our consultative accreditation process, the lives of those people that you serve in the programs, whether they have a stroke or whether they have an addiction problem or they're a child with an intellectual disability, their life will be enhanced because of the services that are offered. So CARF looks at that business side, but then it also looks at the process of how someone comes into an organization, how you plan individually for them, how you move them to the next level or to home. And then whatever is the specialty, what do you need to have to run, let's say, a spinal cord program? So it has multiple levels, but I think for the clinicians that you're speaking to, you really need to stress the fact that you are going to have to know the business side of what you do as well as the clinical.
Thank you so much for that comprehensive explanation to my question. I think those areas are indeed fundamental to delivering excellent care to our people served, from the business aspect to the clinical aspect of healthcare. Speaking from my own experience, the comprehensive nature of CARF's accreditation was very thorough and but incredibly beneficial to our facility, because we did change a lot of things that we've been doing. We had to unlearn the things that we kind of learned over time. So I really appreciate that we were able to do that accreditation. I believe that preparation helped me adjust to my current workplace here in the United States, as they implement many of the practices CARF expects a facility to follow. So I think that was a very good experience on my end.